live and stand up to what it proposes. And life is not a bed of roses. Ask Jesus, Miss Jones and Moses. And life is not a bed of roses. Ask Jesus, Miss Jones and Moses.
The community is freedom, the diversity of facilities we have here. All these things that add up into a great school. The curriculum is totally different. The courses offered.
We're making this movie about Toad Rosemary, and I'm supposed to go around asking people what they want to put in the movie. What do you think we should put in the movie?
Try and get the aspect of the challenge that comes when you arrive here on the first day as a new boy, when it continues on to your graduate.
When I came here, 4 years ago, it just meant a good education. But now it means a lot more. I just really, really love Rosemary, and I'm really glad that we moved up here.
In my old school, there was a narrow variety of people, just generally people that I grew up with and saw almost every day of my life. That's why I went to boarding school. I was at the same school with the same people for 10 years. I just needed a change.
It's very hard for a public school, which is inevitably oriented to some degree politically, to move with the rapidity and with no bias of judgment toward new opportunities, new ways of education. And I hope that our schools can lead in these ways.
I've been at public school, and I know that I never got to know any of the people I lived with. And, well, I feel really good about going to college after this year.
And I hope you'll be able to get something of the variety and excitement there is on this coordinate campus. Some of the lights of the girls as they go back and forth between our classroom buildings and the Choate classroom building. The work that the faculties are doing together, the students are doing together. It's very exciting.
Well, I think the first thing should be the importance of academics at the school. I had a rough time in the beginning of the year, but you just cannot forget the fact that you have to work, and that's what you're here for.
There's an urban thing that Mr. Gaga is trying to start, and the Afro-American resource and the Russian resource center.
It has grown to a full-fledged Russian department with about 50 students around. 10% of
the student body studying Russian. And I might say that our budget is very minimal. We run on a shoestring, but I feel that we are making an impact on education nationwide.
A couple closed community weekends. Everybody was supposed to stay here, and they had everything going on. It was one of the most fantastic weekends I've ever seen in my life. It was just dances and football games. Football games are a real blast. Everybody goes, everybody screams, and we usually lose.
People younger than we are learning from us rather than us learning from ourselves. It's too bad that we can't learn from ourselves, but I guess we're so into ourselves that sometimes we have to look at the people older than us or younger than us to really learn what's happening.
Private education is for developing within each individual student the best possible program for him. We may not have as big a language lab, we may not have 3 trampolines in our gym, and as everybody knows, we don't have a swimming pool. But we do have an advisory system that really works. We have teachers that are willing to spend hours and hours with the students.
This is the finest generation I've seen in their super field. And this is what I mean by a very fine generation. They drop the fetishes of their fathers and of their uncles. They're not materialistic. They're loving. They're kind. They're sweet.
So many of them have lost what they're really here for, and especially here in the spring. They've forgotten if they were going to try to educate themselves when they were little.
I'm sure that when the moment comes for them to produce, their fathers will be very greatly surprised.
Now there's a girl who's working with the mentally retarded for one of her courses. Now who would have thought of that 10 years ago?
I think the toughest part of the film, and I think it'll be up to the kids themselves to get this point across. Because what I think we've got here at Chode Rosemary Hall is an opportunity for young people to grow and mature and to, in effect, be educated in today's terms, as opposed to utilizing only the concepts of the past.
I find that I have a great deal more freedom to teach things that I know have to be taught. In other words, my judgments are respected and I'm allowed to exercise them. And I think most of all, I enjoy the quality of student I get.
I end up doing about 3 hours of homework every night. I try to do as much as I can with a lot of homework. Each teacher expects a lot of you.
Faculty really are interested in having students learn. And I think students are interested in learning, which is another good reason why the students are the great people here.
You can't say there's a stereotyped show. You've got conservatives and fascists and radicals, freaks, and everybody is sort of jumbled up together.
I make a point of not coming back here on occasions when I'm going to run into everybody that I didn't relate to very much when I was here. I related a good deal more to my teachers when I was at Chode. And even after all this time, there are a few of them still around. And I found I relate to them very nicely still.
Welcome to the Chode Alumni Office. Home on campus, I hope, for some 6,000 of our alumni. What intrigues me most, what pleases me most, and what is most heartwarming is the tremendous loyalty of our alumni, even in these days of great and tremendous changes. Some they don't understand, some perhaps I don't understand, but there are alumni who think that the barbershop is becoming a depressed area. I think this is a tremendously exciting time for education. And it's a time when I'm mighty grateful to be part of Chode.
I don't know of a better school anywhere. I looked around and talked to other people and looked at other schools and so on, but I don't think you can find a better school.
There are certain satisfaction in working in a school like this where you have tremendous communication between the students, administration, and faculty. There's a warmth. I think schools of this kind really do care about their students as people, which is not true in many schools.
When I went to Rosemary, I think the whole idea behind a boarding school, or a lot of parents sent their children to boarding school, sort of as a protection, protect our girls. And now I feel that when girls go to Rosemary Hall, they are not protected from the world, but they're taught how to live with the world.
One thing that I found this year that's really great is that no matter what you believe in or what you really want out of life, there's always somebody here that you can share it with because the school's bigger.
We have bull sessions almost every hour on the hour, just whenever there's a group of people around.
You talk about everything and anything.
I can't imagine a school like Choate has any less relevance than it had 25 years ago when I was here. But I had the opportunity to educate myself. And I ran into teachers who taught me how to educate myself. I spent most of my time writing. And the fact that I was allowed and encouraged to write, for better or worse, I dare say got a good deal of bad writing out of my system.
For some people, this is a closed road. For me, it's a kind of opening up because I've had a very narrow sort of educational system before.
As the year progresses, you sort of spread out to the people you meet in sports and in activities. You can just about meet everybody here if you sort of reach out and join the activities and the sports.
One enjoyable thing, something I really got into, was the volleyball team we had. It was a pickup team, pretty much, coached by a very dedicated man. And he took 6 or 8 of us from our 4th form year and worked with us and molded us into a team. And we were all so enthusiastic about it. We all came back from our spring projects to practice for a week to go to the Volleyball National Eastern Divisions. I'm not a sporty type, and I would never think of doing that kind of a thing for a team effort or for a sport, but I can see now, I guess I have the team spirit that we all have. The fact that we're all together out on the court, we're doing something that we enjoy doing, and at the same time we feel we're achieving something, whether we are or not. That's a joy I'm certainly glad I had this year.
Tell me, what do you feel about the food here at Choate? Leonard, just didn't.
Thank you.
And who were you yelling at just a minute ago?
I wasn't yelling at anybody. I was just explaining there's a difference.
Explaining with the spoon in your hand?
No.
Waving that?
No, I was explaining what to do with it.
I'm a great believer in the liberal arts, which I think are very well taught at Choate, and that should be the main focus of all secondary education. And I feel very strongly that the arts, the performing arts, the fine arts should be studied and practiced and enjoyed by the students.
Well, the Art Center is really great because it is right in between both campuses, and you can get to it from Choate without going on the Rosemary campus and get to it from Rosemary without going on the Choate campus. But it's a good focus point for everyone. And you can go there and there's pottery wheels and weaving looms and just a whole bunch of new things that you can do up here that we didn't have last year to use. And the theater is just incredible, and all the people who are involved in drama are just so excited about it because it's very professional.
Before I came to Choate, I was a bit of an actor, but nothing else. And I became involved in the drama club. And through it, I've learned a hell of a lot, an awful lot, about electrical equipment and drama in particular. I don't know, it's brought me to the point where I'm thinking about it now. I'm doing it for a career.
You can make up your own plays and have them perform in the experimental theater. The only trouble is getting around Mr. Simmons.
You can just about find any music for anything you want if you're interested in music. There's a recorder group now. There's choir, there's jazz orchestras, regular orchestra, brass ensembles, all sorts of things. You can form something of your own. A lot of rock groups here. It's growing.
I've had kids, parents tell me, one kid in particular from Stanford, her father told me that she was so gung-ho about art that she was missing one morning in home. They didn't know where the heck she was. She was outside drawing and it was raining. I had a kid come in this summer who wasn't even enrolled in my class. She came in almost every day and drew or did something just on her own. But there are some very, very good kids and some kids who, in my opinion, are drawing on graduate level already.
The kids work really well together. I think Rosemary Hall and Choate, the drama class, works very well together.
I think boys and girls together are great. If we'd been able to be a coordinated educational school 20 years ago, I would have been the first to move in that direction. It wasn't possible then because people didn't want it. Today they do want it, and we're fortunate for a better school because of it.
And I think it's a very natural thing that boys and girls should be together.
For the rest of your life, you're going to be with people of the opposite sex.
We're all up in the Rosemary Hall common room, snug in their little houses, and we are the ones trudging up there every night, night after night, entertaining them.
When we moved up here last year, I looked out the window of this office. First day of classes, and saw the boys coming up the path to our buildings, and the girls going down the choke. It was really very exciting. We have a very much more expanded scene than when we were a small girls' school in Greenwich.
Well, the school has really changed a lot since we've come up here. It's been closer and yet not so close. The girls are more spread out. There are a lot more groups than there were at Rosemary last year, but there's a lot more school spirit.
It's lovely having girls in class. I appreciate the gratitude girls show. Girls have a tendency to thank you if you have any thanks for in class. Boys take it for granted that you dish it out day after day. Girls have a kind of enthusiasm which they can spread to the boys. Girls are pretty competitive too. They make the boys work a little bit more than they normally would. I'm all for girls. What's more, first time since I've been here that I've had anybody make me a set of bedroom curtains and Rosemary Hall girls make my curtains. What need I add to that?
People are so different. They end up being alike.
Well, the school is giving us each other, but in an indirect way. We're just like sharing our lives together, and that's just important.
There are many people, older people, who tend to criticize the young because they are demanding such an increase in the amount of personal freedom that they have. I think what the Children's Rosemary Hall School is doing for these young people is teaching them in a very real way how to learn to live with and to deal with this new kind of freedom. And in the process, it gives them a sense of responsibility which will carry them for the rest of their life.
If the rules were as strict as they were a few years ago, we'd still be having rules. It was something that's bound to happen. People got their freedom, people played with their freedom. And people learned that freedom isn't something that they can play with. Coping with freedom takes a long time.
We're making a film, and I'd like to ask you, what do you think should be in it? No comment.
Oh, what's on the beginning? Boy, I'd get put in jail if I said it.
I don't know, so like kids do after school. You know, like sports, and like everybody kind of running around a bunch of ski fields. She said ski fields. You have to say ski fields.
Stay around the night.
Oh, my goodness.
Same. So I put in a cow in the dining room.
Oh, you did put a cow in the dining room, the headmaster's table.
Headmaster's table.
The atmosphere that pervades the two schools is one of excitement and commitment and happiness.
If you want to have anything, it can happen here.
College is going to be a letdown after this. I can't describe the atmosphere of church. It's just something that's there, that you feel, that gets into your bones. It is wrapped up with 1,000 things.
It's probably a long time to get everything in.